Hey everybody, Dogbear here, back with the new player guide part 3 now. This is Welcome to the Game, what to do after beating Dark Dimension 2. You should be able to beat Dark Dimension 2 in roughly a few months, by the time you get to level 70 nowadays, and then you're pretty much really playing the game for real. You're out of the tutorial mode, essentially. So what do you do after that? Well, you need to build characters up for your Doom campaign, you need to plan for Dark Dimension 3, Dark Dimension 4, Dark Dimension 5, and you need to build out your raid teams altogether. You're going to do a lot of splash value for your Dark Dimension characters with your raid team characters. That's why some of these characters are going to be on here. Who else you use could depend on whoever the newest raid teams are. This could definitely change. I'm going to try to update this as much as I can. So the first thing you want to do is build characters for the Doom campaign. So why do you want to build them first? Because you need to get to the important character farms. Number one, Captain Sam for Omega Red and just an all-around phenomenal character. Yellow Jacket for Jubilee, Unlock, Multiple Man, if you want to get Adam Warlock Legendary, and Negasonic Teenage Warhead if you want to get Doc Ock. The more important thing is there's Gear 14 and Gear 15 gear pieces here that are farmable in this campaign. Those Gear 14 pieces are needed to get into Dark Dimension 3. They're also needed to help level up to Gear 15 to get into Dark Dimension 4, and then 14 and 15 are needed to get into help along with some Teal gear, and they get into Dark Dimension 5. So who do you need to build? Generally speaking, though, for these Doom campaign characters, they're going to have to be around level 65 to 68 gear tier 12, roughly, to beat these nodes and 3-star them. So you can farm them. If you just want to get past them, you can be a little bit lower if you don't mind. So through Doom 1 and through 1-3, we get to use Hero Mutant or Hero Inhumans. Here are some of the options. The X Factor characters, Shatterstar, Longshot, Polaris and Multiple Man, well, those four you need for if you're going to go for the Adam Warlock. You're going to need to build them up to at least level 65, gear tier 12 anyway, with ISO level 3 if you want to get Adam Warlock, so why not use them? And they are actually quite good for these nodes. And the fifth is Beast, who you will eventually use with Jubilee and the Axeman team, who are the current Mutant Raid team. Some other options, though, you could consider if you get Black Bolt, you want to get and bring Yo-Yo in, you can use those two as well if you want to replace somebody. You have to replace Multiple Man because he's a protector, and probably Beast or Polaris. And another option would be Wolverine. With his rework, he does a massive amount of damage, has great survivability. Could be another choice there too. And eventually you want to build him up for a Weapon X team. Just because Heroes for Hire is that annoying in War. Even if you don't care about War, you want to be Heroes for Hire after getting your butt kicked multiple times by them. And they're just an overall the best war team anyway. For Doom 1 through 4 through 1 through 6, we have Hero, Mystic, or the Guardians. So the top ones, of course, are Icarus and Cersei. You can probably just bring those two in and probably beat the nodes anyway. You don't need to bring a team full of 5. Other people we have are Silver Surfer here. We have Death Bull. We also have Hoodie and Dildo, also known as Cloak and Dagger. I call him Hoodie and Dildo. Gamora, since he's a Guardian, and Thor, maybe, depending on the next one. 1 through 7 through 1 through 9. Where we have Shield, Wave 1 Avengers, or Fantastic Four. This is where you could use Thor again, if you wanted to. Well, but the top character would probably be Maria Hill, and Nick Fury would be the top 2 characters to bring in. Reason being, those are 2 characters you need for Omega Red. Maria Hill is also used for your skill raid team. She's a phenomenal character as well. You can bring Yo-Yo in as long as but you couldn't bring like Hulk or Captain America in though, or even Invisible Woman. So she's kind of maybe. You can also bring in Black Widow. To say more, the team would probably look like Maria Hill, Nick Fury, maybe Thor, Black Widow, and then either Captain America or maybe Hulk. Hulk, I think it's a little bit better depending on what you're trying to do. If you're trying to get energy regeneration, then it's Captain America. So just pretty much pick any of them. Or you can bring in Invisible Woman if you plan on bringing her into any of the Dark Dimensions. You're going to have to build her up anyway. Bring her in for that. Moving on, we go to Doom 2. Dash 1 through Dash 3 is probably a little bit more of the frustration one here with the AIM Mercenary Wakanda tag. Unfortunately, I can only recommend really the top 5 characters as the best team to level up. Shuri, you're going to probably eventually level her up for Tech Raid in Doom unless we get a tech team finally. So she does have options there. You're going to need her anyway for the Red Star promotion event. It comes every month because she's Wakandan. So that's why she's a good option there. Up next we have Scientist Supreme. The only reason why she's in here is because these nodes go much easier with her on the team. You don't really want to build her too high. Aim is not good. Scientist Supreme is not good, but she will help you get through these nodes and 3-star them. Up next we have Taskmaster. He's a mercenary, so you're going to need him for the payday event anyway. So you might as well build him up a little. He's a decent character. He can be used in war defense if you want a war defense character. Merc Lieutenant, very good character, very good minion. Doesn't take a whole lot to gear him up. Again, another mercenary. You're going to need him for the payday event. And last but not least over here on the side is Killmonger. Killmonger is a mercenary. He's a Wakandan, and he also has the military tag, so if you care about the training module event, you need him for that as well. So he has a lot of splash value, and that's why you want to build him up. An alternative could be Merc Riot Guard if you wanted to bring him in as well. Didn't work as well because of the taunt and stuff, but can be done. Doom 2 through 4 through 2 through 6 is Hand. Marauders for Spider-Verse. Whenever we talk about Spider-Verse, the obvious go-to team is now the Web Warriors. The reason being, the bio team that you need for raiding, so you're going to build them anyway. You need to do it. Some alternatives, because it is Marauders, Spider-Verse, Hand, but there's nobody good in Hand. Would be Emma, Sabretooth, and you could use the 3 symbiotes if you decide to bring them in, like, say, Dark Dimension 3. You could use Symbiote Spider-Man, any Venom, and Scream are the best 3. You could also bring in Carnage and Venom as well. Alright, moving on. We have Doom 2.7 through 2.9. This one's a bit harder because the characters you can only use are Black Order, Hydra, Power Armor. So the top 5 here are the teams that I've actually used and beaten it with is Ebony Maw. If you could get him unlocked, you don't need him very high. Again, 65, 68 is fine. Zemo, who you could probably want to build up anyway. Whenever you're using Zemo, you probably want to bring the Hydra Grenadier. Red Skull is actually pretty phenomenal on this node because of his summons, and he helps out Zemo and Grenadier. And Falcon's another option. This is the regular Falcon. Another option could be you could bring up Winter Soldier for this. Again, you need him for Mega Red. You have to build him up at least level 65. Gear tier 12, ISO level 3 for this to get a 5-star Mega Red. Never mind if you want 6 or 7. And another one would be Hydra Scientist if you want some heals. But this can get through this node without anything else. You don't need the rest of the Black Order. They really don't work. So moving on, we move to Doom 3133. You can use whoever you want here. It's wide open. Then we move on to Doom 3.4 through 3.6. This is actually quite a big list of people you can use because it's just plain Avengers. That means any of the Young Avengers, Secret Avengers, regular Wave 1 Avengers can all be used, along with Fantastic Four characters. So top row is obviously the most likely candidates. Maria Hill, Sharon Carter, Captain Sam, Nick Fury. They'll probably get through it by themselves. If you want to add a 5th, Black Widow, Invisible Woman, regular Falcon, who you may already have built up anyway. And then finally we get to Doom 3.7 through 3.9. If you have a big enough Kestrel and a big enough Shuri, you could probably just take out these nodes and 3-star them with just those 2 if they're bigger. With the rework, though, now we also have Elsa Bloodstone is a great option. Of course, Falcon again comes into the play because he's Hero Tech, and Ghost Rider is another option with his rework recently as well. This depends on how much resources you want to put into these characters. Kestrel is one of those characters who should be built up to the max anyway. You need her later on. And finally, we get to Doom Campaign 4. This one you can kind of actually wait upon until you get more into a I'm ready to go to DD4 type thing, because there's no Gear 14 pieces out here, only a couple Gear 15s, and then you get into Teal Gear and some basic Orange Gear. But Doom Campaign 4, though, does actually have purple training modules on them as well, so there's a good use for that. Doom 4, 1 through 4, 3 is an absolute huge array of characters. Spider-Verse New Warriors are heroes for hire. Obviously, if you're already building Web Warriors, you can use all those 5. You can use Hody and Dildo. You can use Deathpool, Shang-Chi from the Heroes for Hire. When we're talking Spider-Verse, there's so many more characters. It's not funny. It's pretty easy to get through those. Doom 4-4 through 4-6 is just Hero Mutant. I've actually found that these nodes it's best just to bring the full Axemen. That means Bishop, Beast, Iceman, Kitty Pryde, and Jubilee, who you should have unlocked by the time you get to this node anyway. Jubilee is a great legendary. You need her anyway. You're going to build up this team anyway if it'd be your mutant raid team, so it makes sense just to use them. And finally, last but not least, we have Doom 4-7 through 4-9. Pretty much bring Icarus and Cersei on the bottom, and you'll get through these nodes. But you can also throw in Hoodie and Dildo and Deathpool. That would be it's a great Mystic retame as well, but there's also it's any other Mystic character, from Ebony Maw to Silver Surfer to Thanos. The list goes on. Eventually, we're going to have Morgan Le Fay, you have Adam Warlock, all those. Everybody. Doesn't matter. So now we talked about the Doom campaign. Let's talk about what we need to get in through Dark Dimension 3. That is our next goal. Unlike Dark Dimension 2, where you could do Dark Dimension 2 and then you do Dark Dimension 1 afterwards, we're going to do these in sequential order. You need the gear from Dark Dimension 3 to help you get the Dark Dimension 4 because of the 14s. Eventually, you have to get those 15s out of the Doom campaign, out of the store, out of the War Store, wherever you're getting them. Or if you get the Armory 15 orbs, you can get them there too. So to start DD3, you're going to need 5 characters at Gear 14 for the first 4 nodes. To Gear 14, a character has to be level 75 or higher. Nodes 5 through 8 requires global characters. You can do it as little as 1 character. That was the old original way of doing it, was just bring in Phoenix and attack a whole lot over many, many days. Nodes 9 through 12 requires cosmic, and nodes 13 through 16 require city characters. So who should be the first 5, since you need 5 characters to even start? We start off with Captain Sam here. Phenomenal character. You'll need him in the global nodes as well. Next up would be Kestrel. Another phenomenal character. You can use her in the cosmic area. You're going to be using her for a long time. Maria Hill, obviously, Secret Avenger. Sharon Carter, another Secret Avenger. Sharon Carter and Maria Hill, both being global characters, work with Captain Sam. Kestrel even works with them on the skill team. We're essentially building a skill raid team, because the 5th is actually Shang-Chi. This is actually the skill raid team, pretty much. Shang-Chi being a city character, though, you won't be able to use them together throughout all Dark Dimension, but you can use them in the first 5 nodes. It's just a matter of how long it's going to take to get through. So some other options if you get them. Icarus and Cersei. If you get those 2, just bring them in. They'll help you tremendously. Emma Frost is always a great option. Morbius, if you want a mystic option, because we're talking everybody up top requires skill gear, except for Kestrel. She requires skill and tech gear, so it's going to depend on what you have. And then a couple of other options that should be easier to obtain. Morgan Le Fay seems like she's going to be an easier legendary to get. And Agatha Harkness, so you can see I don't have the icons for when I made this. Eventually I'll have the icons for them. So Global Dark Dimension 3, obviously Captain Sam, Maria Hill, Sharon Carter. The first 3 we already talked about. The next 2 would be Emma Frost and Jubilee. I do highly recommend for the globals. These are probably the toughest nodes in Dark Dimension 3. You want that full team of 5. And these 5s are probably the best. If you get Omega Red, though, put him in instead of Jubilee. He's better than Jubilee for this. So other options, of course, is Morgan Le Fay. She is a global legendary character. Agatha Harkness again. Ghost is an older option, but it's still a very good option. Works very well with Emma and the Secret Adventures as well. Believe it or not, Silver Samurai is actually quite a good option. I actually have a video on him in Dark Dimension 3. He's actually quite good. You put him on the other opposite end of Sam, creating a whole taunt thing. He stuns and everything as well, and he has really good survivability. Mr. Sinister, an oldie but goodie, still very relevant if you want to do some clones. He's getting a rework now, so he might be a little bit better now. And Dr. Voodoo, he has tremendous survivability. He does work quite well. He does need to be a little bit higher on the star levels to really get some good use out of him, but he does work well. And of course, Omega Red, if you can get him, bring him by all means. But he's not as easy to get as the others, as like Jubilee or anything like that, so that's why he's down there. But eventually he'll move up there when he gets a little bit more easier to get like more repeating. So for Cosmic, we're going to start, you can pretty much just go in with Icarus and Cersei and actually take out all the Cosmic nodes, just them, literally. But eventually you're going to have to build up to a team of 4 and a team of 5. So Kestrel's another option. Deathpool is a great option. Some other options that you might want to consider, Black Bolt Invisible Woman. They're legendary characters who you might need later on, depending on what you're going to do in Dark Dimension 4 and 5. Adam Warlock, another legendary, again, depending on what you're doing in 4 or 5. Gamora, if you just want a 5th character, or Moondragon, Nebula, and Final Veil. Any of the Infinity Watch will work here well. Gamora would probably be the first. If you don't want to build, say, Deathpool because of the Mystic gear, because you already have 2 Mystics for Icarus and Cersei, you might want to do Gamora and Nebula. If you have some extra bio gear around, you just want a 5th character, Final Veil would work out well. And Moondragon, if you just have some extra skill gear, or you just want to build all 5 Infinity Watch, go ahead. Another option, of course, the other option is, of course, Silver Surfer. Tremendous character still. Not used as much as he was when he originally came out, but he's the one who started the whole power creep, and is incredibly good as well. But again, another Mystic. When we get to City Dark Dimension 3, the team is going to be Shang-Chi, Morbius, Scarlet Spider, Ghost Spider, aka Spider-Gwen, and then the original Spider-Man. The reason being this is going to come into our Dark Dimension 5 planning is the cost to bring these characters up, the mini uniques that they use. You have Shang-Chi being skill, Morbius being mystic, Scarlet Spider, Gwen, and Spider-Man are all bio. The mini uniques that they use, like Shang-Chi's the cloth, Morbius is Uru, Spider-Gwen is alien spores, and Spider-Man and Scarlet Spider are both Oz formula, so you can break those up. Other options, though, if you want to get through it quickly, bring up these three symbiotes: Anti-Venom, Symbiote, Spider-Man, Scream. I have videos where level 75, Gear 14, those 3 characters literally one-shot all the city nodes by themselves. The team above won't probably do that. They'll probably struggle a little bit. It might take a day or 2 to get through. But they'll set you a much better for Dark Dimension 4 and Dark Dimension 5. Other options would be, Dildo and Hoodie here. Dildo and Hoodie are fantastic characters. The problem is their cost. When you start looking at Dark Dimension 4 and Dark Dimension 5 costs, it's quite high because they're Mystic characters, and there's a great Mystic gear crunch right now. Doc Ock is actually another option here. He actually does quite well in Dark Dimension 3. You can pair him up with the symbiotes, pair him up with anybody, really. It's a great standalone character, plug and play. And of course, if you're doing the Web Warriors, you might just want to bring in all the Web Warriors because you got to build them for raids anyway. That's Spider-Punk and Miles if you want to bring them in as well. So after you beat Dark Dimension 3, obviously you're going to have to start thinking about Dark Dimension 4 and getting your Doctor Doom. So what do you need for Dark Dimension 4? Well, start Dark Dimension 4, you need 5 characters again, this time at Gear 15, and it's only the first 3 nodes. You get to Gear 15 a character, it has to be level 80 or higher. Nodes 4 through 6 requires global characters. Nodes 7 through 9 requires cosmic characters. And nodes 10 through 12 require city characters, and then they threw it. Nodes 13 through 16 requiring the legendary characters. So the legendaries, no matter what their tags are, can't be used in the previous nodes. They have to only be used in their nodes. So the first 5 for Dark Dimension 4. I'm going to say it's going to be Captain Sam, Kestrel, Icarus, and Cersei, Emma Frost. This gives you a little bit of a divide as far as what gear you need. Captain Sam being skill, some skill and some tech for Kestrel. Unfortunately, Mystic. Again, here's the crunch with Icarus and Cersei. That's going to be Mystic there, and then you have a mutant in Emma Frost. This also gives you a couple of characters for Global, some characters from Cosmic is ready. The other options, of course, would be bringing in Sharon Carter. We're going to need her for Global. Shang-Chi, we're going to need him for City. Maria Hill, we're going to need her for Global. Morbius, we're going to need him for City. Other options would, of course, then be like Omega Red on the end, and again Morgan Le Fay and Agatha Harkness as they come out. And we see how they look good. Can't really say for sure. They'll probably bump somebody off the list. For Global Dark Dimension 4, we have, of course, the Secret Avengers. Captain Sam, Maria Hill, Sharon Carter. We got to build them up. Emma Frost, a phenomenal character. Going to be used quite often. Looks to have a very long shelf life because of her speed down. You only need 4 characters to actually get through this. You could get through it with just 4. But if you want to add a 5th or you just want somebody different, we have Agatha Harkness. Ghost again, she is phenomenal in Dark Dimension was what she does. Silver Samurai still here. Mr. Sinister, obviously, is a tremendous 5th. You easily one-shot all the global nodes with him on the team. Dr. Voodoo again. And Cosmic Dark Dimension 4, well, we're looking at Icarus and Cersei. We should already have built Kestrel, and a great 4th is Deathpool. If you want a fifth, any of the members of the Infinity Watch or Silver Surfer are always good investments to bring into Dark Dimension 4 if you even want that fifth character. The only one I would probably suggest out of all of these, including Silver Surfer, would actually be Nebula because she is tech, and we're probably going to bring her into Dark Dimension 5 currently. This is very Cosmic is the one area of Dark Dimension 5 I'm really not hammered down on who the fifth is. So our City Dark Dimension 4, we're bringing in that same team as Shang-Chi, Morbius, Scarlet Spider, Ghost Spider, and Spider-Man. Again, because the costs eventually go into Dark Dimension 5, we need to get Morbius, Scarlet Spider, Morbius, and the Web Warriors can be used to unlock Morgan Le Fay, to be used in higher levels of that event. So we're going to need them at higher gear levels anyway. We need to build them up, and Shang-Chi is an amazing character who we use in raids. The other options again remain the symbiotes. Actually, if you wanted, you could piece together some of the symbiotes with some of the other characters. When you get down to the bottom of the symbiotes, when you start talking like Venom and Carnage, you might as well just bring all the symbiotes at that point. Symbiote Spider-Man is, of course, the number 1, Anti-Venom number 2, and then Scream would be 3. Again, Dildo and Hoodie are on this list, and again, you could always just bring all the Web Warriors. Just remember City with City Dark Dimension 4. The first 2 nodes are very easy, and Node 12, the last City node, is an absolute nightmare. It will take you quite a few attempts. If you've never experienced it before, you'll see what I mean. And then we finally get to Legendary Dark Dimension 4. Now this, I have changed from my previous advice because now the top 4 Legendaries are going to be Morgan Le Fay, Omega Red, Doc Ock, and Jubilee because of cost. The fifth, if you want a fifth, which I do suggest, that's up to you. It used to be Adam Warlock was in that team all the time, but because of the cost with Mystic Gear between him and Morgan Le Fay, it might not make sense. Phoenix is phenomenal. She's quite good. However, you're going to have to resurrect after every single node or wait a day for every single node every single attempt. Black Bolt might be high on your list because you're going to see he's in my Dark Dimension 5 list, and I'll explain that when I get there. Invisible Wound, lower cost than Black Bolt, is actually quite good in Dark Dimensions because of her ability to cleanse and put up shielding, which is something we don't have with a whole lot of legendaries. And the final option a lot of people are seen to bring is Nick Fury because he's the only skill legendary. You might have some excess skill gear laying around. People do bring him in. And finally, we get to Dark Dimension 5. I can't tell you when you're going to complete this because I haven't even completed it yet. Not a whole lot of people have because they are being very stingy with teal gear. What it comes down to. But to start Dark Dimension 5, sorry about that, I messed up on that node, but it's 5 characters at Gear 16. The Gear 16 has to be level 85 or higher. Nodes 4 through 6 then require City. They change the order here. It goes City first, 7 through 9 Global, 10 through 12 Cosmic, and then 13 through 16 is the Legendaries in this one. For City Dark Dimension 5, like I said, the previous teams, Shang-Chi, Morbius, Scarlet Spider, Ghost Spider, and OG Spider-Man. This is due to cost mainly. Scarlet Spider is really the weak link here, actually. He's not very good outside of raids and on his team. Spider-Man helps speed up Ghost Spider and Scarlet Spider because every time they dodge, any of them dodge actually, they all get turn meter, helps speed them up. Anytime any of them get attacked, Ghost Spider is going to attack other people. Morbius has that health steal in his basic, which is phenomenal because Dark Dimension characters have a whole lot of health, and Shang-Chi is just an amazing character in any skill, so it helps you even out your skill, Bio Gear, Mystic Gear, what you're going to be using further on. Other options would be, of course, bring all 5 of the Web Warriors, because once again, they are used for the Morgan Le Fay Legendary. And of course, we have Dildo and Hoodie. Unfortunately, Dildo has a very high Mystic Gear need, and of course, Hoodie can be used standalone, but they only use the same amount of gear as Morbius. The only reason why I took Morbius over Hoodie is because Morbius can be used for a legendary, whereas Hoodie cannot. And the other 2 options, which would be absolutely fantastic, is Symbiote Spider-Man is a great replacement for Scarlet Spider. However, he costs a way more bio gear, and getting those mini uniques on him might take too much. Another option would be Anti-Venom. So when we look at Global Dark Dimension 5, the top 5 I'm looking at right now are Captain Sam, Maria Hill, Sharon Carter. Hey, they're skill her 18 muzzle, and they're phenomenal, so bring them up. Emma Frost, because she's a phenomenal character and a mutant, but although a higher cost mutant. And then finally Doctor Doom. He is just one first or second best character, depending on if you consider Kestrel Doom. It's up there. as far as standalone characters go. He takes some Mystic gear, but he also takes some Tech gear. So it's not as high cost overall. Using that Tech gear is not a bad thing. Other options, of course, looks like it's going to be Egg of the Harkness, again, Ghost, who's phenomenal. I have actually seen people take Silver Samurai into Dark Dimension 5, and they do quite well with him. Mr. Sinister, still an option. There's no Kestrels in those nodes, so he can be used. Of course, Dr. Voodoo, similar survivability, but Mystic, that's the problem there. Kate Bishop works quite well with the Secret Avengers. She is Tech, a lower cost Tech. But you can also bring in Lady Deathstrike for the same price if you want to do that. They're both Tech. That's a matter of who do you want to use. We're currently using Lady Deathstrike in the Tech Doom raids. That could fall off. And a couple lower cost options for Mutant. If you rather have one of them, either Wolverine or Sabretooth. Probably Sabretooth, because most people want to build him up to equal their Omega Red, so they don't have to ability block Misty Knight. They can ability block Shang-Chi and more. They're both low cost. They both do a tremendous amount of damage at higher levels. So they're both options. As for Cosmic Dark Dimension 5, this is currently what I have. Icarus and Cersei obviously are phenomenal in Dark Dimension. Kestrel taking skill and tech gear. Nebula for tech gear again. And Phyla-Vell for bio, because we're kind of running out of bio. We're into the Mystic option. But there's a whole lot of other options. Got Gamora who takes skill gear. Moondragon who takes skill gear. Could bring Silver Surfer if you don't mind spending more Mystic gear. The only reason why Deathpool is down here is because of Mystic gear again. But you also have lower cost option like Ravager Stitcher. Very, very low cost. But then, of course, then you'll have a Gear 16 Ravager Stitcher at the end of the day. The other one that people seem to be bringing in is Star-Lord T'Challa. I haven't really heard a whole lot about how good he is, but he is cheap and he is tech. Like this, I said, is still in flux. We could have somebody else in here, like if you don't mind another Mystic, the new Doctor Strange Heartless. That's another option. And finally, Legendary Dark Dimension 5. I'm putting in Morgan Le Fay. She looks really good, even though I haven't really seen her in any of the Dark Dimensions. Nobody has. Omega Red, now of course he has to go. He was number 1. Doc Ock, Tech Legendary, still a great character, can flip buffs. Jubilee, still a great mutant Legendary. And Black Bolt, because on the final node of Legendary, there's a ton of tech. There's Ultrons, there's Dooms, there's Doombots, where they summon as Fantastic Four, but they're still tech. They're villain tech. He has, of course, extra damage against villain tech, so he's a great option. Plus they're summoning, so he's a great option for all that to stop him. Plus you get the burp out of him. Other options, again, though, I have seen people bring Nick Fury and people are bringing Phoenix and Invisible Woman in. And, of course, Adam Warlock has been brought in before Morgan Le Fay. He was in the place of Morgan Le Fay. But, again, because of the Mystic gear crunch, I mean, you're talking a lot of Mystics here that we're going to be going through. So that about wraps this up. The only other thing you're going to build, of course, is going to be raid teams after this, which you've already sort of built, because you already had Axemen, you already had Web Warriors. We don't have a tech team. We also had the Secret Avengers, who are a skill team. They're already built. And your Mystic teams should be close to built. There's a lot of different options. Right now, of course, it was Icarus and Cersei. They're probably the mainstays. It's probably going to change with Morgan Le Fay coming into there. So what it's going to look like in the future, I don't know. I'll update this as things get changed. I can update this fairly easily now. So until next time, I hope this video is informative and look for any updates in the future.